So if you're starting a business, and especially a business that's going to have like a physical space where clients are coming and going, it's really important that you pay attention to this topic before you start that business, before you find a suitable property to run that business. And I've seen issues with this recently, quite a few issues actually, and that's people not paying attention to the proper zoning bylaws and building usage bylaws for typically their municipality. Sometimes it's a larger jurisdiction like a province or a state. So what I mean by this, for starters, for zoning, not all areas within a municipality can be used for any type of business. And likewise with residential. Certain areas can only be used for single detached houses and not apartment buildings. Certain areas can be used for retail and not industrial business space. Some can be used for industrial, but not for residential. Some can be used for certain types of commercial, but not all types of commercial. So these rules are generally enacted by a municipality, and they're called the municipal zoning bylaws. So if you're starting a business and you're looking for a commercial space, you'll want to make sure that that commercial space is in an area that's zoned for your type of business. I've seen that with things like daycares or even dog daycares or retail, where people are looking for rental space for their business, but they're looking in an area where that particular business is not allowed. It's not permitted under the zoning bylaws. And the good thing is these people figured it out before they signed a lease, but I also have seen in the past where people signed, maybe a 5-year business lease for a commercial space for a building that was in a region that was not zoned for their type of business. If they get caught, they got to shut down the business. They have to move away to somewhere else and set up where they are zoned to do that. And in some cases, you might get shut down right away because when you're applying for a local municipal business license, the city's going to say, hey, we can't give you a license for that type of business at that property. It's not zoned for it. So that is extremely important. You wouldn't want to commit to a 5-year lease and then, week 1 when you apply for a business license, the city says, no, can't operate there, find a different space. And then you're tied into a 5-year lease. So extremely important. And then on top of that, it's just making sure you're actually allowed to do what you want to do in that space besides zoning bylaws. You might need some extra business licenses. Like if you have kind of a food service business, you might need a food service license, a liquor license from your municipality or province or state. Or if you're having, like a childcare facility, typically there are some extra licensing or extra permits that you need to get. So you want to make sure that that space is going to be suitable when it comes to zoning, when it comes to usage, and that you're following the right steps to get all those extra licenses and permits. And this is another thing that I just saw recently where someone rented a space to run a certain type of business, and it was zoned for that type of business. But in order to get a proper municipal business license, he could only do certain things within this business, and that kind of interfered with what he wanted to do because he wanted to offer a few different services and only some of them were permitted under that type of business license. In order to get all the services permitted, he'd have to go through some extra steps, and it would be a really lengthy process to get approval from the city to receive that business license. So something to be mindful of, if you're working with a commercial real estate agent, make sure that they are discussing that with you. Make sure you're reaching out to who's ever issuing business license. Typically that's going to be your city or town, and then sometimes there might be some extra ones needed through a larger region or jurisdiction like your province or state. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any similar questions on business management or startup, just leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please click like, and definitely check out my other videos here on YouTube, where I've got dozens of them on business management and business startup topics.